Hello, community. It's a great day. My name is Sheila Hardy, and I'm the founder and CEO of Because It's Personal. And here with me is my co-host, Ericka. I got this now. Just sit down. Scott of Life Changers Inc. And this is the Community Nonprofit Network Podcast, aka CNN. Our motto is where your nonprofit shines. Ericka, how you doing?
I am always amused. I mean, I can't help but to be smiling ear to ear every time you introduce me, because it's like, oh, wow, okay, am I that today? I guess so. I'm wonderful. How are you, Sheila?
I am doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. We have an awesome guest. You got to tell us who we have.
So today with us, we are speaking with Miss Tracy Adkison, Director at the League of Women Voters of Georgia. Hey, Tracy, how are you?
Hello there. I am good.
Good. You sound all excited. Hey, this is going to be a crunk one.
I'm excited to talk about our topic today.
Yes. And our topic is
having a vote plan. So vote.
Vote. Yes. Get out there and vote. So Tracy, please warm our listeners up with a little bit of you and what the League of Women Voters does and how you even came to be with them, please.
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much. And thank you, Sheila and Ericka, for having me. I'm so excited. I get excited, y'all, when I talk about voting, when I get to talk about voting and elections with people, because it's the backbone of our democracy. Yes. And our democracy is under attack right now. And we need all hands on deck. We need everybody voting. And the League of Women Voters, we're nonpartisan, meaning we don't support or oppose any candidates or parties. We're working to get people registered to vote and educated about how to vote and who's going to be on your ballot. What races are you voting for? We don't tell people how to vote. That's totally up to you, and you vote according to your values. That's all we do. That's all we ask. So my name is Tracy Adkison, and I am originally from Ohio, but I've lived in Georgia for 22 years now. Love it. Met my husband here. Right before I moved here, I got a job in Cincinnati as a recruiting director for the 2000 census, And I tell you that because that was what prompted me, and opened my eyes to the need that I needed to understand politics better. For my job, recruiting, I had to go to festivals and fairs where they had local elected officials, and I needed to recruit people to sign up to work the census. It takes a monumental effort. My goal was like 5,000 qualified applicants I had to recruit.
Wow.
To execute the 2000 census in just the outlying county, not the downtown. There was another census office downtown Cincinnati. And so, going to those festivals and fairs, I would see Mayor such and such. I would meet Commissioner so-and-so, and I would meet, Councilwoman such and such. And I'm going, what is the difference in what they are required to do with their jobs? And I didn't know. I'm not afraid to say I didn't know. I didn't understand. I said, I need to understand what the different levels of government are, how politics works. I need to understand. I knew to go to the polls and vote, didn't
Right.
really understand what I was voting for and who I was voting for and what their job was. So that's what led me to the League of Women Voters. When I moved to Atlanta, my company sponsored a table at the League of Women Voters of Atlanta Fulton County's annual fundraiser luncheon. And I didn't know. They were like, we got a table and we need to fill it up. Anybody want to go? And it was like, free lunch? Yeah, I'll go.
Hey.
And they had representation from every major corporation in Atlanta. They had tables. They were sponsors. And the MC for the luncheon was a news anchor from CNN. No pun intended.
Wow.
And so that's what I said. I was like, this organization, okay.
Which one?
Oh, this was 22 years ago. I've been a member of the league for 20 years now. And so, I don't remember who it was. I apologize. But,
Okay.
I was like, this organization, they were talking about registering to vote, being involved in civics and politics. And, they obviously carried this clout in the community. So I was like, this is the organization I'm going to join to learn about, government and politics, elections and voting. And I have been a member ever since, and I have learned so much more than that. I actually learned project management skills because they put me to work. Organizing my first thing that I did for the league was work with the city of Atlanta Department of Watershed Management because they were getting ready to do a sewer overhaul because the sewers hadn't been touched since they were.
Yes.
And so we put on a forum, an informational forum, because it was going to be on the ballot, because their sewer rates were going to hike up.
Yes.
There's so many things we vote on that we don't really understand. So we had the mayor, Shirley Franklin at the time, on the forum. We had a commissioner from Watershed, and we had academia. We had Dr. So-and-so from environmental from Georgia Tech, to talk about the impact of this and why citizens needed to be involved and engaged, what they needed to understand about the process. So the league, in addition to registering voters and educating them on voting and elections, we also educate people on the issues that affect them, everything from taxes, healthcare, the environment, voting rights, more and more. And we actually take a position after we study it, whether we're in favor of legislation or what the legislation should look like for the people. So regardless of party, the Republicans, they're on this side. We don't do a side. What is best for people?
So what's best for people, isn't that kind of subjective?
So I'm so glad you said that. That's why we do a study. No, that's why we do a study. Education, we look at different numbers depending on the topic. And so we actually we did a study on whether or not outsourcing the management of prisons. Hello, that was a hot topic, y'all,
I'm sure.
Whether or not that's a good thing. So we looked at and I don't know, I don't profess to be an expert on this, and none of us are, but it's what position will the league take on this issue? And it's the lens that we're looking through is the impact to the everyday citizen.
Okay.
And so obviously, managing prisons is really not about the everyday citizen. So, but education, healthcare, immigration. Yeah. We look at it all. We actually have a book on our positions. It's a book.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people of all parties, Dems, Independent,
Yes.
Republican. Okay.
I knew this was going to be good, y'all. One of the things I loved the most, when I joined, like I said, 20 years ago, was I was working side by side with another woman of color who was vocal member of a party different than mine. And we had the same goal: register voters, educate them on the process and who was going to be on their ballot. But everything has become so polarized now.
Yes.
Do y'all remember when you went to the polls and you voted, and you didn't just vote Republican? You voted who you thought would be the best person for the job, regardless of whether they were Democrat, Republican, black, white, male, female, who.
Yes.
So I hope we can get back to those days one day.
Yeah, those are back with the little click it things.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all old enough for that, but the little click it thing, it was in one position and then you click it down and it'd be in the other position. And okay, I got that one.
How old do you think I am?
I was joking, Sheila. I know.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to broadcast it, that's fine.
Whoever knows me already knows. They already know, so I don't care. But you know what? It's going to get back to that because people are sick of this.
Yes, ma'am.
They are. They're sick of it. I mean, if they're not, and only a few. We keep broadcasting the few that is causing this mess.
That's right.
If we stop doing that, I mean, haven't we learned by now? We should learn by now that there's more of us than it is of them.
That's right.
So with that being said, we can't help concerning about ignorance. We just can't help it.
Right.
But, it comes down to giving the people the information. Now, if some people don't want the information and don't want the correct information, that's on them. But there's more of us that want the information, that want to be able to do the right thing. There's more of us than you think. It's just put on the television that, what in the world are these people for real? And yeah, so
but what counts is your vote.
Right. It does. And I cannot wait until I see how the votes are going to come in this time.
Yeah.
With all this stuff that's going on, I cannot wait.
Right. Well, and with that being said, that's what I was about to say, Tracy. How do you relate to the people that you speak with to get them to register when they say, well, my vote really doesn't count anyway? Do you see the mess that's going on? How do you combat that?
Great question. You can't you can't play if you don't get in the game. You can't play if you don't get in the game. You sit out, we actually have some t-shirts that say democracy is not a spectator sport.
Ooh.
If you sit back and just complain, and there's a really cool song out there, on YouTube. I have to send it to you afterwards. I can't think of the name of it. But it's a young millennial who made it, and it just took the internet by storm, about voting, and we don't want to hear you complain if you don't get out there and vote.
Yes.
Your vote.
Oh yes, you have to send that, please.
I sure will. Your vote is your voice. That's your voice. Because if you don't like what you're seeing, and if enough of us, like you said, don't like what we're seeing, and we bombard the polls, then we can see the change. Because we see that there are some that are playing games, that are making it harder to vote, that are putting up challenges and doing all manners of shenanigans to try to protect their majority. Hello?
Yes.
So the real majority has to overwhelm the system with the number of votes. With the number of votes, because that's what counts at the end of the night when they count those votes. So we can march, and we should march. We can march, we can holler, we can scream, we can write letters, we can do all of that. But when it comes down to that vote, it doesn't matter if it's by 1,000,000, 10,000, 100,000, or 1. And we saw elections, because we're so polarized and the country is almost literally split down the middle.
Yeah.
We saw votes. We saw races that came in where the person lost by 400. In Virginia, I believe it was the state legislature. Somebody lost by one vote.
Oh, you're kidding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not kidding.
Wow.
So trust me when I tell you, every vote counts. And even when you think about 400 and you think about your city or your county or just your neighborhood, our old subdivision had 200 houses in it. 200.
Wow.
So, the outcome of these races is not set. It is not set. It depends on people that show up to the polls. And I'm not advocating for a party, any particular party over another. We just want everybody to participate in the political system.
Okay. I don't have a cheat sheet, so bear with me. But I hear something about the filibuster is being done away with.
They're trying to, and I'm not well versed in that. But that's a political tool that they use when they don't want to vote, period. Right? So something is coming to the floor and they don't, the other party doesn't think that they're going to win the vote. So they filibuster, which is just a waste of time, really. All night long. And both parties do it.
Yeah, it's a game thing. It's a politician game. But what I want to kind of change the subject a little bit. I want to talk about the black males voting. This is a situation where I know that Stacey Abrams is running. Now I'm going to get a little deep in here, and anybody want to, respond? I have no problem with that. We can have a good dialogue. But there are some males, not all, and I'm not putting all males in that category, but on both sides, you got black ones and you have the white ones and you have males, period. I shouldn't say black, white, but I'm really dealing with the black ones now. Is that they say, well, I don't see where I'm voting for a woman. That happens a lot, even in the church, the black churches. So how do you actually address that issue? I know you guys are talking about women, but do you address that issue concerning about the tradition? I call it a tradition of males saying, I'm not voting for a woman, no matter how good, their issues are. It's concerned about the reproductive system. So do you guys address that, or what do you do?
That is an excellent question. So I can't say that we directly address that. But we do advocate that we need more women in our legislative bodies. And we want legislative bodies. The league wants legislative bodies that represent the community that is serving. So there should be men, there should be white men, black women, white women, you're making decisions, because how are men going to make decisions, good decisions? They make decisions, but how are they going to make good decisions, the best decisions for our bodies
Right.
But they are the overwhelming majority in most of the legislative bodies. And that's in the United States. Other countries, women are there's more women in legislative bodies, that lead, legislative bodies. So we need more women, and we want, representation is everything. So if you get more creativity, you get more ideas, you get, more input, good input about, what kind of policies we need, what kind of communities we need, what do we need in our communities based on who can tell you better than, the community.
Right.
So we need everybody. We need everybody from all kinds of backgrounds to run for office. So we do advocate for more women to run for office, but, we can't tell, we don't tell anybody who to vote for. We do put the values out there through our tool, vote411.org. We send it out to the races that are going to be on the ballots. And the candidates that are going to be on the ballots for those races. And it's the same questions. It's not different. It's the same questions. Where do you stand on this issue? What's your background? Why do you feel you're qualified to occupy this office? Why should people vote for you? And we pick issues that are relevant to the race that they're running for. Everything from sheriff to, state senate to U.S. senator to, all the way up to the president.
Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So Tracy, talk to us about the strategies you employ and which ones work the best.
Ooh, strategies. So, let me think. That's a good one. So when it comes to strategy, we really want to meet people where they are. We really want to meet people where they are. So, this is why we go out to festivals and fairs and, the MARTA station, the bus stops, to help register people to high schools, because high school seniors, once you're 17 and a half, you can register to vote. But think about the 17-and-a-half-year-olds that they're not thinking about registering to vote, right? So we go to the schools and set up, if they'll let us in there, and set up and register them to vote, so that they can't vote until they turn 18, but they can register at 17 and a half, because the thinking is by the time election day comes, they'll be 18.
Okay.
The mall. The mall.
Oh.
The mall is the good place to
Listen, yes. We like the Girl Scout cookies, but we need more foot soldiers.
Yes, right. Yes.
If your listeners want to join, tell them to go to LWVGA.org. And
say it one more time.
LWVGA.org. And click on join.
Then.
Or donate.
Now, we know about you because of Caitlin Ball of Cobb Collaborative. And she is over civic engagement and working with I think it's Voice Your Vote. And Cobb Collaborative, they are actually going into the jails. Now, okay, first let me clear this up. Because as you were just speaking, I got a little foggy myself. You are the League of Women Voters, right?
That's correct.
But do you only register women voters?
No, we register the community. We register anybody who wants to get registered and has the credentials to get registered to vote. In other words, the correct ID. And if you don't have it on you, we'll still help you fill out the form and tell you what you need to go get, and give you the form and where you need to drop it at to register. And you can do it online too. So, a lot of people don't know that as far as jail and prisons, what disqualifies you to vote is if you have a felony. So even if you are in jail, if you are registered to vote and the election comes up, as if you just had a misdemeanor, you still can vote. You can vote. And as far as even coming out of jail, out of prison, and you had a felony, if you've served your time and completed and paid all of your fees and restitution and completed your
probation,
you can register to vote. And I gotta make sure I say this right. I think it's that you repaid your fees. Once you have repaid your fees, completed your parole, you can re-register to vote.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. I'm 99.99% positive that's the same thing Caitlin said. She was way more versed in it. We learned. We were straight spectators. Yeah. That's and you know what? And it's it's interesting because just from Sheila and I doing this podcast, Caitlin's, yours might be now, but Caitlin's was actually until last week, as of last week, was still the number one listened to podcast. And I used the same, tags with her. We had Solid from MVP, Muslim Voter Project. Yeah, he was on a couple of weeks ago. I can't think of his last name. And he used the same tags on he and Caitlin, but I don't know if it was a female thing that they were more interested or what the deal was. But both very informative, because he even said things I didn't know. She said things I had no clue about going into jails and prisons. But I think that is really, really awesome. Do you do that already? Have you been doing that, or are you going to do it?
We have leagues that go into prisons, and we have leagues here in Georgia that have worked with ex-felons to, literally go through and make sure that they are off papers. That's what they call it, off papers, and help them get re-registered. Determine whether they are.
Let's dial it back a little bit. Talk to us about the vision and mission statement for the organization.
Wonderful. So our mission is empowering voters and defending our democracy. Timely, right? We used to have a really long one. The League of Women Voters encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in their government, blah, 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 right? It's all embodied in empowering voters and defending our democracy. Our value statement, y'all will love. We believe in the power of women to create a more perfect democracy. And that doesn't mean that we don't allow men in the organization. We do have men that are members of the League of Women Voters. So not only do we register men, we also have men who are not just members, but leaders.
Wow.
In the organization. Yeah. Because we do what we do, all across the world. We're always going to shine. We're always going to do what we do. Cause women, we're the backbone of our families. We're the backbone of our communities. We got to keep it together when everybody else falls apart.
Yes.
So us saying that we believe in the power of women to create a more perfect democracy doesn't diminish what the men do. The men are going to do what the men do.
Right.
We're not trying to take away from that. We're just trying to all work together and make sure we have equal representation on these legislative bodies. So
that's good. That's really good.
So how do you approach the candidates when you're wanting to have like a town hall? I mean, because your name, you guys are out there. You're how old is the organization?
Thank you. The league is 102 years old, and it was founded out of the women's suffrage movement, and so understanding the history and being very candid and real about it, Black women were not welcomed in 1920. Hello.
Right.
And consequently, I was the first African American woman elected president of the League of Women Voters of Georgia. Imagine that. And not in,
Woo! Wow!
Well,
Congratulations!
if it had to start somewhere, it's good that it started with you.
well, thank you.
Yes, that is awesome. I didn't know they were that old.
102 years old. And y'all just think about that. These women were having their national women's suffrage conference in all these different states. And they decided in this national conference to start the League of Women Voters. And somehow, I don't know if it was carrier pigeon or what, mail. It sure wasn't cell phone, and the Wi-Fi was not, internet was not around, but they got word to all the 50 states. So they had this National Women's Suffragist Conference in 1920 and made this decision that they were going to start the League of Women Voters. And when I tell you the League of Women Voters of Georgia was founded in 1920, it's like, anyway.
I'll tell you what, and it cracks me up every time I say it. Like Bishop Bronner says of Word of Faith over in Austell, Georgia. He says, well, before there was a telegraph and a telephone, there was telewoman.
Yes. So yeah, that's our mission, our vision. That's what we're working to do and every year we think it can't get any worse, right? And I mean, it has just gotten worse and worse and worse. The attack that our democracy, the democracy that this United States is supposed to have is just more and more under attack. And I actually just sat on a panel at Georgia College in Milledgeville where they wanted to talk about whether or not we should abolish the Electoral College.
That was another one that they were talking about, not just the filibuster, but yes, okay, explain that, because I don't understand the whole thing, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going to listen to this who doesn't. So please.
So so I had to do a lot of research to get ready for that because I was on the panel with Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so, and this little black girl from Iowa was just like, here's what I know and here's what the league believes. So the league does believe and has a position. Remember I said we take positions on issues that the Electoral College should be abolished. And we are advocating for the National Popular Vote Compact, the National Popular Vote Compact. So when we cast our vote, Ericka and Sheila, we're not actually directly voting for the candidates that are running for president. That electoral just for president and vice president. What we're casting our vote to say is the party that we voted for that gets the most votes in that state, they get to send a slate of electors to the Electoral College. So in the state of Georgia, Biden got more votes than Trump. So at the end of the night, when the election was certified, Governor Kemp had to send send notification, however it goes, to the Democratic Party of Georgia to say, your party won the state of Georgia. Your slate of electors get to vote for the president and vice president.
That's why you get that information of my vote doesn't count.
Exactly.
That's why you have to understand why people are saying that. Because the Electoral College had its place back in the day when you had these small areas, and that it had its place. It's outdated now. It needs to go.
It is. There's pros and cons because you got states like California and Texas that has, oh my gosh, so many electors, and their percentage is huge when it comes to because the candidate that reaches 270 wins, right?
Right.
270 electoral votes wins. Well, I can't remember the numbers right now off the top of my head because I wasn't expecting to go in that direction, but California and Texas and New York, I mean, they have double digits, they got a lot of electors. New Hampshire and what's the other small state? Maine. And
You got Idaho.
2 to 5. Two electors. Two. Yeah. So if we did away, so that's why you see a lot of times candidates focus on the swing states, right? Because they can actually change the outcome. Those states can change the outcome of the elections because they're so close in whether they go blue or red, just to be quite clear. Now, if they do away with the Electoral College, the candidates are still only going to look at, I'm not going to New Hampshire because I can only get 1 million votes there, where I can get 10 million in Georgia and I can get, 30 million in California. Yeah. So that is the con that they use a lot. The smaller states won't have representation, but they still don't have a lot with the Electoral College anyway. But the other part of it is even the electors in most states, they're not required to vote with their party.
It's all messed up.
You would think they wouldn't, and they don't for the most part. They do not. They go with their party. They vote with their party. But only I know Arizona is a state that they are required, but it's just a fine. If they voted against the party, they would be charged, and it would be a fine.
Arizona is special anyway. They don't even participate in daylight savings time. They don't participate in a lot of things. They're just like they want to be on their own.
Right, but at least they require their electors to vote the way that with their party.
See, you threw me off with that because I would have thought that was automatic. Like, why would they even have to put a rule in for that?
And then we got into the fake electors. The fact that in 5 states, the losing party sent their slate of electors anyway to the Capitol to vote for their party's presidential candidate.
Wow.
And then sent their results to Congress. And then we're getting into January 6th, right?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. They sent you can YouTube it and see, you can see in Michigan where the quote unquote fake electors were trying to access the Capitol, their state Capitol. And that Capitol Police was like, nope, the governor certified electors are voting right now. And they pulled another news company found one of those electors in Michigan and asked, on what basis did you all feel like you could even come together and do this? And he said in so many words, because there's open active litigation, which there was in that state, in Michigan, Trump filed, alleging voter fraud in several states, right? And we just wanted to make sure if the ruling went in our favor, and I'm not quoting him, but this is the bottom line of what he said. If the ruling went in their favor, that they had done their due diligence.
Right.
And that their electoral votes were in place. Well, what I found out in my research is the governor not only notifies that winning party, he also has to send that certification to the National Archivist. And then elections are November. So sometime in December is when the electors meet in their respective states and cast their votes. And then that goes to Congress So when they vote, the governor is responsible for sending off their certified votes to the to Congress, to the president of the Senate, which is the vice president, right?
Right.
To the National Archivist, again, these are their votes now, okay? To the National Archivist, to the federal judge in the district where they voted. So this is why Fulton County DA is conducting a criminal probe, right? Because you can't, you send a fake certified document.
I want 11,882. I'm sorry. I had to say that.
And then there's that, yeah. And then there's that, contacting, the Secretary of State to say, find me the votes I need. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there's that. But these electors,
And I can never pronounce his name because it has way too many consonants in it for me. But hats off, and I don't care what party he's with. I know he's with the rep. But hats off for right is right and wrong is wrong. And I am so happy that he was the Secretary of State for Georgia. I know he's not there anymore, but I think he'll be awarded one way or the other because of what he did. That was it's still surprising. It just seemed like they came out of the woodwork. All of the ones who were just, everything has been proven. What more do you want? It's like, okay, well, would we be going through this if, and I'm not going to, it's not even about parties, because if the Dems were doing this, I'd be saying the same thing. Would we be going through this if you won? Would we be going through this? Would you be kicking and screaming like a 2-year-old in the cereal aisle if you won? No. That's my biggest thing. We're wasting tax dollars because all of this is on tax dollar money, the taxpayers' money. So that's
all of it, of every last one of it.
Right.
All of it, we're paying that.
Right.
All of it.
But I was happy to see that our democracy stood up.
Yes.
Withstood all of that because they challenged on every turn, at every step of the process. They challenged it in the states. Yes. In Congress. Yes. Tried to get, the president of the Senate to not do, they tried objections, and it's not a lot, but there is policy written on what it would have taken to actually object to the electors, how they voted. And it didn't happen. So because of that, they have drafted up additional policies to make sure that nobody can do that again, or that they have more defined procedures in place to address it if it ever happens again. And it's called the Electoral Count Act. The Electoral Count Act.
Tracy, why don't they just, when you vote, because we understand what the popular vote was when when we had Trump and what's her name? What's her name?
Hillary
Clinton. The popular vote, if it just, and that's so weird because we need to revise what is going on, because this is how I'm looking at it. Because this has happened, it has shown us what can happen, which did happen, and it's not a good thing. So it's letting us know that, you got to do something different now.
Yes.
You can't have the same thing that you had before. And so in a way, it's like if nobody's prosecuted, you better do what you're supposed to do because we're paying for it.
That's correct. Yes,
That's
ma'am.
why I keep saying we are the little man is paying for this.
That's right.
All this. And so with that being said, we need to, and this is just me, and I'm not running for president or anything like that, but we need to change a lot of things.
We do.
And change them quickly. Because
you know,
there's too many. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You know, all the states are free to conduct their elections the way that they want to. So that's the other part of the league's position is that we believe there should be a uniform registration and election system to elect the president and vice president of the United States.
And what is the biggest roadblock or hurdle against uniformity?
Let's see. So see, like some states have, not Montana, is it Oregon? Where as soon as you turn 17, you're automatically registered to vote. You don't have to fill out nothing. Well, think about all the information they have on us, everywhere, in databases everywhere. You're automatically.
I almost just put my mic off and said something. Are you kidding me?
No.
You're not kidding me. You're not kidding me, right? You're not kidding.
No. So that's only 2 states. But so you do notice that you see different states having their primaries and their primaries on different dates. Some have ranked choice voting where everybody in the party goes on the ticket and you can vote for your first choice, your second choice, and your third choice rather than just voting for one candidate. So, but the good thing about that is, because there's a lot of states trying to move to ranked choice voting, is you don't have to come back for runoffs.
God.
Okay.
If you're voting for your first, second, and third choice, you don't have to come back for runoffs because the numbers go down, especially for our community, when it comes to coming back for runoffs. And Lord, don't let it be raining. The numbers are going to be even lower. Yeah.
But again, you have to understand they're thinking if my vote counted, hey, I would do that. However, we realize what Stacey Abrams did concerning about the presidential candidate at that particular time, and she got people to get out there, and I mean she got people to get out there and do what they needed to do. But there was, before that has happened, there was, I forgot, purge. You know about that, right?
Yes.
Purge. And voting roll purges. So let me just say this. There's nothing wrong with purging the voter rolls on a set frequency and following the policy around it. People die. People move. You need to update and purge the rolls. But
thank you for putting the butt in there.
The people, do people make mistakes? You need to notify the people that you think need to be eliminated, that had a change in their status, whatever. And then, because that exposes when you show that somebody didn't vote in the last 3 elections. That's their choice. That's their choice. But you can be removed. That is state law, at least here in Georgia. You can be removed from the voter rolls if you did not vote in the last 3 elections.
Right. Understood. But I think what I was talking about. The situation. Okay. I just want to make sure that you knew what I was talking about concerning the purge incident.
Right now we're dealing with voter challenges, voter challenges, organizations, going to the local boards of elections with a whatever database they got. I forget what it's called. Some kind of national address database saying, this person shouldn't be on the rolls in your county.
And what reasons are they allowed to give, and it matters?
They're going by this other database. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now,
I didn't even know about the purge until a lady here in Atlanta sued and won. I'm like, do what? What is this? That Kemp had gotten rid of, what was it, like 74,000, I think? I was like, how did he do that without, okay, are they dead? Did they maybe go from Democrat to, or from registered Republican to now Democrat, and they're just not voting Republican anymore? Did they move?
People who move out of the state, then you should no longer be on Georgia's rolls. You know what I'm saying? But where in those instances, in that particular instance, she did not receive the notification that she was supposed to.
Well, it was her and like half of her neighborhood, because they were trying to remove a bunch of people on her neighborhood, and she was one of those who was like really intertwined with, she knew all the neighbors, their kids, their dogs, and so when she got this, notice, I think it said like 30 or 60 days to register or whatever, change the status, and she went to everybody door to door to door. And, wound up suing to get it, undone, but, and not just for their neighborhood, but a whole lot more.
And was that Stacey Hopkins?
I don't remember. This was a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is a while ago.
This is back. That's why I was saying, are you understanding what I was saying concerning about the purge? This was like investigated. And this was stuff that they were doing, where this old lady was voting, God knows, years, and then they said they couldn't find her.
Let me say this because this is very timely. I'm so glad we're talking about this. One of the things we encourage everyone to do, so everyone that is listening, please go online to MVP, like most valuable player, MVP.sos for Secretary of State, .ga.gov. My voter page is what it stands for. You can even Google My Voter Page Georgia, and you can get to that page. Put in your first initial, last name, and your county, and you can check your status and make sure. We please implore you to check your status and make sure you are registered. You still have time to do something about it up until October 11th in this midterm election.
So can somebody, are we still doing mail-in ballots? Yes.
And so you have until October 17th, I believe it is.
So I can do mail-in now from the 17th?
And so, for Georgia, you have to apply for your mail-in ballot.
Right.
So you have until the 17th to mail in your application or submit it online, your application to get your ballot. Then once you get your ballot, you fill it out. You can drop it off at a drop box. But remember now, all those drop boxes that we have all over the counties, they eliminated a lot of that. They're only allowed to be inside of the local boards of elections, which are only open, 9 to 5 or so, Monday through Friday. So, you got to drop it back off. Either you can drop it off at your precinct, you can drop it off at the local board of elections in the ballot box.
Okay. Well, I mailed mine off the day after Labor Day, so hopefully even snail mail won't hold it up.
No, you're good.
Well, Tracy, it's almost about that time, and we want to ask you one question about. It's called "What Would You Do?" and we want to ask you one question, and just answer it as best you can. Okay, you ready? Okay. What would you do if you could change one thing in the world?
I would abolish the electoral vote and just have national popular vote.
It doesn't have to be voting related.
It really doesn't. It's just anything.
Anything.
It doesn't have to be vote related.
I would, y'all don't laugh. I would eliminate evil.
Oh, we'd be in heaven then.
Evil?
We wouldn't be here.
Evil, mean, nasty.
Oh, evil. Oh, okay. I was like, you didn't talk about that.
I went way left. You said it didn't have to be about voting.
No, I thought you said e-vote. And I'm like, wait, what's e-vote? You didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I really would just hate crimes.
Yes.
Because that's at the root of a lot of the problems that we have in everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
good.
I mean, there's no right answer. It's just your answer. So cool. That's good. Well, we want to end with this quote, and this quote for this particular interview is this: "Don't be afraid to start all over again. You may like your new story better."
I love it.
Awesome. Do I dare ask who said that?
Me.
Hey, how many times have I said you are too brilliant? You always giving me the credit. Well, why don't you run? And why don't you? And that, I'm telling you, listeners, don't let Sheila fool you. She is a brilliant one. She is definitely a shining star. Well, listeners, we thank you, Tracy. We thank you. You were an absolute joy. I know she was, because I didn't even realize that time had gone by that fast. Awesome. Yes. And as we told Caitlin and Solid, we're going to have you back to see how your efforts panned out after the election. Because I'm sure you guys keep some kind of, you've been around a long time, so I'm sure you have all kind of tracking measures, and KPIs in place. So we want you to come back and talk to us about that. Okay.
Okay.
All righty then. Well, if you would like to advertise on the CNN podcast, either get a mention on the podcast or be shown on our website, please visit the website, thecnnpodcast.com. The same goes for if you would like to be a future guest and sit down and chat about something nonprofit, cause related with Sheila and myself. Awesome. Go to the website, fill out the form, and we will contact you. Otherwise, as always, be awesome and be blessed.